Not today. Just not today. But what is today? It's another home workout. You guys ready to start? I am. Let's do it. So after about 100 or something of home workouts, I came up with some new variations of warm-up movements. So let's have a look at not 4 warm-up movements, but 4 warm-up movements plus a variation. So kind of like 8 movements or something stuck together. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to have Sval and Ben demo everything for you guys. This is one you want to practice from the get-go. So the first thing that we do is we're going to do an inchworm plus a double shoulder tap. So we're going to have our feet underneath the hips or wider. We reach for the floor with long legs. We start walking out, but we end in a plank. You guys go slow. In the plank, you do a double shoulder tap across. Boom, boom. And you walk your plank back up. Up, 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 up. That is 1 rep. And then you reach up and you do another one for the people at home, definitely. So we do a shoulder tap and we walk forward. We end in the plank. We do a double shoulder tap here. Beautifully done. I love those. Okay. So our second movement is going to also be in a plank. Now what we do is we're going to do a push-up. But once we've extended the arms in the push-up, we do 1 alternating leg lift. So, 2 alternating leg lifts. So 1 per leg. So what they're going to do is they're going to start here in their push-up stance. Let's have a look. Good. They're going to lower the body. They're going to push up. And they're going to do 1, 2 leg lift. 1, 2. And they go on to their next push-up. Yes. 1, 2. You guys can take a break and we're going to have a look at Ben here. So first thing that Ben does is he's going to go to his knees. Then he's going to go back into plank. He's going to do leg lift. Beautifully done. Back to the knee. Do the push-up. Go back to plank. Do a leg lift. So this is what we do if we cannot do a push-up properly. Instead of getting an external object in there, we go from the knees. Now what might happen is you're having troubles with a shoulder injury, a pec injury, maybe even a tricep injury. In that case, we'll substitute the push-up for 2 repetitions of a forward reach while being in a long plank. So Ben is going to show you guys that just once, nice and slow, Ben. He's going to start in the plank, right arm comes forward, comes back down. Left arm comes forward, comes back down. He does a leg lift. Comes back down, he does a leg lift. This is, and you can rest now, buddy, this is considered 1 repetition. So a good substitution of the push-up plus leg lift. Now, our third movement is going to be what? It's going to be a squat, and we're going to do some touches on the floor with the knees. So we're going to start standing in our squatting stance here. Now, in that squatting stance, we're going to slowly sit down, and they're going to start off with the right knee. Sit down, bring the right knee downwards to the left foot, come back up, do the same with the other leg. Come back up, and then they stand up the squat, and then they go on to the next one. So every squat you do an alternating knee down to the other ankle. Very good hip opening movement. You guys can rest here. Now, what we will show you is an alternative for not being able to have all that bending of the knee going on, and that is what Ben will show you guys right now. That's going to be starting with the good morning. Stop in the end position, then do a woodpecker on 1 leg. Basically lift up the leg, boom, come back down, beautifully done. And then do the other leg. Yes, nice and controlled. Come back down, finish the good morning with your glutes. Patsa, that's a rep, you guys can rest there. Good. Now, our final movement in this warm-up will be on the floor. It's going to be a glute bridge, one we did a ton of yesterday. And we're going to add lifting up the leg. So what they do first is they go in their starting position of the glute bridge with a butt on the floor, heels on the floor. Now they first go slowly, hips go to the ceiling. Hold, 1 leg comes up, boom, that leg comes down, other leg comes up, leg comes down, and now they lower their butt. You guys do another rep for me. Now at home, when you're looking at this, what's very good to notice is the hip stays high while the legs are alternating. It's very important in this variation of the glute bridge, plus lifting of the legs. We just showed you 4 different movements, and each of these familiar movements has a variation, right? So we start off with the inchworm, and at every repetition you do, you add a double shoulder tap. 2 reps. Then we do 3 reps of a push-up, and at each end position of the push-up, we do a double alternating leg lift. And the third movement will be 4 repetitions of a squat. In the bottom of each squat, you do a double alternating knee down. Then in the fourth movement, it will be 5 glute bridges alternating at the top position with 1 leg up and the other leg up. We do this for 8 minutes. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to burn, baby. So you guys are ready to start. I am ready to start. We start in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. So they're reaching down. At home, I hope you guys are joining us right now. We're reaching down to the floor. We're walking our inchworm towards a regular plank. We do a cross shoulder tap. 1, 2, and we come back up all the way. And then guess what? We'll do it again. And while we're doing this, there's a whole bunch of stuff falling from the roof down on the floor, but that is all good. Very nice. Then after the 2 inchworms, both with an additional double shoulder tap, we go into plank for the push-up. We do a push-up, and in the end position, we do 2 leg lifts, squeezing our glutes, keeping our belly nice and tight. We do 3 reps of that. There you go. Very nicely done, gentlemen, on the push-ups. Good. Then after that, we go into the squat, where we do the knee touching the foot, or getting close to the foot as possible, and then finishing the squat. So as you can see, it's either the end or the bottom position of each movement that we add an extra bit of cheese on top. Like we're having that pepperoni pizza. I like the Brooklyn style actually most, which is my favorite one, depending if it's an American style pizza or an Italian style pizza. We finished the round with the glute bridge, and in the glute bridge we also do 2 extra reps per movement of lifting up the legs. But a nice thing here is it's actually becoming harder because the leg moves away from the middle, which means your glutes have to work even harder. So keep those babies up high in the sky, keep squeezing them, keep your hips pointed to the ceiling. Upon completion of the 5 reps of the glute bridge, they've only worked for approximately 1.5 minutes. It'll probably go up to like 2 minutes. If you can do 4 quality rounds of these, you have the best warm-up ever. And I'm serious about that. See you guys back in a second. We just went through a pretty thorough and good warm-up, okay? We did 4 nice movements with some combinations in there. Now we're going to get ready to do the 4 movements that we will combine in today's intense workout. It's going to be a very high volume workout, so drink a bit of water and watch us and maybe join us to practice movements. We're going to start off with the band. You're going to step on the band with the right leg. You're going to wrap the band behind you with the right arm holding it. Elbow is going to be underneath the wrist there. And it's very simple. We're going to just press up the band to overhead. We're going to come back down. Now you guys keep going here. What I like with Ben and Sval is that they're actually pressing up the band, but they're going to keep their shoulder down while doing. And they're also not leaning to the side whatsoever. They're standing up nice and straight, just pressing that band along with the head, create the overhead. Very nicely done. Now let's see what we do when we have injury with the bended one-arm press. And then the injury I'm talking about is something in the front delt that is hurting with going overhead. Let's have a look at Ben. Now what he's going to do, he's going to stand on the band. Yeah, he's going to stand on the band here. And then he's going to do like a crucifix hold with the band. So he's going to go wide and outside, palms facing forward, thumbs facing up. And we have 10/10 reps in the bend press. So what we'll do here is a 20-second crucifix hold. For the next time, if he does a round, the lower he would grab the band, the more tension, the harder it's going to be. But also being able to have to pull the band outwards here is a great substitution for the bend press, still taxing the shoulders properly. Now let's have a look at our second movement. And the second movement is going to be a squat, where we're going to add the band around the neck and we're going to stand on it for some added resistance. So they're both standing here. Now it's going to feel a bit weird with the band around the knee there, but they're going to just sit there, butt back and down, stay as upright as possible and go to regular squats. What I always like with the band is to hold the band so it doesn't really pull on my neck hair. Might be a good tip there. Other than that, just keep the regular squatting pattern going. There might be a tendency to lean way more forward than you would normally do. But hey, guess what? I wouldn't recommend you to lean more forward. No, I wouldn't do that. Now, a good substitution for injuries, for Ben in this case, would be, hey, can't bend the knee that much. Let's do a soft knee, and then let's start doing good mornings, because we still have the band around our neck anyways. This is going to be our substitution for squatting when we're talking knee injuries. He's pushing the hips back, making sure he's bends from the hip and not from the back, finds his hemis and glutes on the way back, and squeeze the butt when he goes up. Very nice. Now, the third movement here is going to be a bend over row with a neutral grip. So you're going to stand on the bend again. Sval's going to stand on 2 sides of the bend. Ben is going to stand on 1 side of the bend. Now, when they set up, they're going to go to a bottom of a hinge. So they're going to go as parallel to the floor with the upper body as they possibly can, while maintaining a straight back, squeezing their belly. From there, elbows go back and up. Hold it, come back down. Now, find a workout pace, gentlemen, while still making it look good. And what I like here is even when they lower the bands or lower their arms, they're still in control. Because the band is pulling you down, but I need you to fight that. That is using the band of resistance to actually build strength with these movements. It's going to be high repetitions, so the back and biceps will get a good burn here. All right, now let's ditch the band. And let's, wait a second. Let's have a look at an injury scaling option. For what? Tennis elbows, golf elbows, water polo elbows, and soccer elbows. What it's going to be is a band pull apart. You have the band in front of the body, you start ripping the band apart, close to the chest, and come back down. You can grab one side of the band, you can grab two sides of the band. It is all good. Important here is wrist, elbow, and shoulder stay in the same line throughout. If you have a slight elbow bend, I'm going to accept that, but then keep it that way all the way through, right? Very important. Now, the fourth and final movement of this workout will be a double under. But we'll also show you what to do if you don't have a jump rope or can't jump. But first, let's have a look at jump rope options. And off the get-go, you're going to look at this, swallow this double unders, and Ben is going to do double unders without a rope. Let's have a look at that. Gentlemen, go ahead. Nice. I tend to like this a lot. All right, let's take a break. That was good. So what you saw happening is Sval jumped, the rope traveled twice underneath the feet. With every jump, we call that a double under. And instead of scaling bend to something like a jumping jack or to something like a single under with the rope, we keep the skill element in there and actually also the focus element in there. So every time Ben jumps, he's hitting the legs twice. So he's practicing the rhythm of the double under. And lots of you can do easy single unders, can go very fast, can do all the steps there like a boxer, but they have trouble hitting the rhythm the entire time. So a rhythm practice is going to be our focus point today if we scale the double to something else. Now, the only skill we should actually talk about is the skill of no jumping at all, either because of an injury or because living on the 4th floor in an apartment and having all the people below complaining about all the home workouts we do. Now, let's start with the mountain climbers here, Ben, and just go nice and fast. Keep the front leg off the floor. Shaboom. You substitute all 40 reps for 40 alternating mountain climbers. Every leg that moves is a repetition here. Let's rest, buddy. All right, so we showed you 4 movements. Let's talk about the setup of the workout, the rep scheme, and such. And we're going to have our timer set at 20 minutes. We call this in CrossFit a marathon. It's going to be a long workout. The start, the first movement will be the band overhead press. You do 10 reps on one arm. You guys choose which one to start. Then you do 10 reps on the other arm. Makes it 20 in total. Then you move on to the second exercise with the band around the neck. You do the squats for 20 reps. So we had 10-10, we had 20. We move on to 30 repetitions of the rows, the bend over rows. 10, 10, 20, 30. And we finish with 40 double unders or 40 fake double unders without the rope. 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. As many of these rounds as you can possibly make in 20 minutes. Keep the quality up and be aware of the fact that 20 minutes is a long time, so don't push at the start right away. I do need you guys and you guys as well to aim to do all of this stuff unbroken for as long as you possibly can. Now, if you guys are ready, we're ready. Let's start all together on this one, man. It's going to be good times, baby. Ben, Sval, 560 people watching at home. We start in 10 seconds. Yeah, 560 people. That's what's up. All right, let's go. So we press overhead. It feels like you're slightly pressing from behind, but it feels more natural than having the band in front of the body here. So we love the band press from having the band wrapped around and then behind the body. 10 reps. You can't go very fast in this movement. You just want to get into your normal regular pace, having control on the way down. Don't yank with the band. It's not going to help you. And then you're going to move on to the other arm there. Good. Stand firmly. Press close to the body. So we've done workouts with sets of 25 on this. Give you a hell lot of burn. Today we need to be able to do everything actually unbroken. So that's why we chose for a shorter rep range in this case. So it's about a rep per second with transition time, or 2 reps a second with transition times. It took about 40 to 45 seconds to get to the set of 10 and 10. Moving on to the squats here. Now 20 squats will probably take them about 30 seconds because they know if the speed is up way too much from the start, it's going to be too difficult to maintain that pace throughout. And their legs will feel, yesterday, of course, with the drop squats, but it will also feel the added tension of the band here. And as always, my cross math was right. It took about 30 seconds to get through that set of 20. That means we go on to the supinated bend over rows, or not supinated, the neutral grip bend over rows. And neutral, guys, it basically always refers, if you see an added word to the bend over row and you don't understand the word, it always has to do with the positioning of the hands. And that has to do with how you can easily attack certain parts of the back muscles a bit better. Now, neutral is often referred to as a very strong grip, even with pressing as well. So we tend to use that today just for the sake of variation. I like how they're trying to keep their back as flat as possible. Keep the chest up just a tiny bit more if you can, guys. Good. There we go. Elbows pulling close. Now this big set of 30 is going to give them a burn. Holding the band also burns the forearm a bit. The bicep is working. And obviously the entire back is putting in the work here today. 30 reps of the supinated bend over row. Took them a good minute to get through. Again, a rep per second. Moving on to 40 double unders for Sval and 40 fake doubles for Ben here. Very nice. Now we're going to watch them going through this entire round here. Absolutely. Because it's always fun to look at rhythmic movements that move very fast. Now this will get the heart rate up. And that means that everything that goes after this is going to be harder than it was in the first round. And that's what I like about this concept with very strict movements that focus on muscle endurance, is once you add that element of intensity in there with the jump rope, for example, right? It's going to slow down the rest of the workout. It's going to make you breathe harder with the heart rate up. So you guys keep going. Be aware of how everything feels, and I'll see you guys back on the next one.